Aren't you guys glad that Gachiakuta is still around after 29 chapters? It makes me so happy, bro. This shit makes me so fucking happy. Just being able to read Gachiakuta, just being able to share my love of Gachiakuta with you guys is super dope. Now, let's get into this chapter because I know last chapter I said, oh, we're just now leaving the tutorial of Gachiakuta. No, this was the chapter. Because now we are venturing out into the world. Well, not really the world, but the Forbidden Zone where we came from, which is super interesting. You know, the tutorial is always the beginning, but going back to the beginning is even cooler because now we're gonna get to the nitty gritty and we're gonna get to discovering some shit. Think about this, right? We're going to the Forbidden Zone and it's called Petra. And if you guys remember, the boss of the Vandals did mention the desert altar. So he's well aware of where we're going, which is kind of creepy. It's like he's got foresight as a Jinky, but we'll get to that at another time. We got to see Rudo's full mask, which was super fucking sick. I was hyped. Right? And we got to meet August, who comes across as somebody who's very charismatic and very weird and wild and kooky, right? Like he just comes across as that person. And he's the complete opposite of his sister, who is Aisha, who we've met before. She's very shy. Remember, Gris said that when we met her back at the hospital, like officially met her. Like they're polar opposites, which I mean, that's how siblings normally be in anime. But yeah, August makes everything for the cleaners, right? Legitimately everything. And maybe that's his ability. You know, maybe that has something to do with his ability, but we find out his full face is done. And the way that he did it is he went in Rudo's room while he was like fully asleep. And crazy enough, like Ryo was like, yo, Rudo can't sleep really well. So you should have a knack for finding the right moment when he's sleeping. Now, the thing that really like truly caught me off guard was how they communicate. Now, we knew that the chokers that they wear are communication devices. We knew that. They brought this up a long time ago. But the question is, how in the fuck do they do that? And we find out it's through blood. So what they did is they shared their blood with Rudo's choker, which I found kind of weird because Rudo legitimately read my mind when I was here at this part. So Engine goes on to explain choker. They're like transmitters. No, more like telephones. You can use it only to communicate with people you've exchanged blood with. And Rudo legitimately, like I said, this was the mind reading part. He was like, what kind of technology? Nope. Maybe this is also some kind of giver ability. This had me thinking, what if this is the boss's ability, right? Like, what if this is the boss's ability? Because as y'all remember, the boss's true strength stems from our complete loyalty. That could very well be the case. Or there is somebody in the janitors who essentially is the neural network, you know? That could very well be the case. We have a lot of options here. So now that we are on our way to the Forbidden Zone to look for the woman, the visual of the Forbidden Zone was really fucking chock full of despair, right? Because you look at it and at first glance, you're like, oh shit, it's just a bunch of sand. Come to find out, that shit is just waste that's been turned to dust. And you're like, Jesus Christ, as beautiful and at the same time daunting that this scenery is, this is just garbage. Garbage that's been reduced to dust for however long they've been up in the sky. Truly an exonerating feeling when you look at this shit because it screams freedom, but at the same time, it's like hell. Right? Because it is the Forbidden Zone and humans aren't supposed to be able to survive here. So, like I said, this is all invigorating. To me at least, right? And then this is the part that really had me jumping for joy. We are watching August give the full explanation of the mask and we're seeing the visual each time. And we see this giant ass fucking crab and we get a visual of everybody else's mask, right? We've already saw Engine's mask. So now we got to see Ryo, Zonka, and the rest of the crew's mask, right? Like their official shits, which looks sick. And then we saw Rudo's. Oh my God. It screams Rudo when you look at that bitch, right? That shit screams Rudo. Looks like a luchador, which is fire. But man, it takes me back to what August said. That Engine and Samyu told me most of the personality you had. So we decided to go with the boss's choice and make it look super cool, right? And not to mention being able to see Samyu name you again. I was super hyped. Getting to see this gorgeous ass woman at least once a chapter or once every other chapter. It's like food for the soul, right? Like it heals my heart. And it's funny. There was one thing that I wanted to point out before we go to the epilogue of the video. Well, the ending of the video, Engine pointed out, he was like, Sky people don't lock their doors. They don't even have doors where they were living at, if I recall correctly, right? It was just trash heaped together to make a house. Engine would be surprised if he found out exactly where Rudo stayed when living up there. So I don't know, this chapter, while it wasn't super fucking crazy, really provided information, which is something that manga needs more than anything, right? Like to be able to explain shit that happens and shit that goes on in this world, because the choker was something that I legitimately thought about at some point where I was just like, how do they communicate, right? Like, how does this work? And now that we have an idea as to how it works, it makes sense because, dude, Jinkies are limitless at this point because it stems from your imagination. So seeing this, it really has me excited for what's to come, bro. Like 1000%. And I want to point out another image from the panel that really sums up where we're going with the story, and that was when Engine was like, this is your second time in the Forbidden Zone. The moment we arrive, danger will greet us. Be prepared. And you saw the look in Rudo's eyes. Now we are really looking into Rudo. Like, we've gotten to introduce everybody. We've got to know a little bit more about everybody. We've laid the foundation for other characters and, you know, sub characters and just the world in general where we're at. Now we are going back to what we really came here for. And that is to learn more about Rudo, which has me fucking genuinely excited, bro. Because this is what we wanted. This is what he wanted, which is fucking crazy to think about. Like, we've been doing all this running around and all this shit just to get more information for Rudo, to figure out how the fuck we're gonna get back up to the Sky people, if we're even going to need to go back up there. When your brain opens up to what Gachiakuta has to offer and you turn off that closed-minded mentality that a lot of manga readers have when they go into reading shit, it truly becomes a wonderful world, at least to me. Anyways, man, let me know what y'all thought about this chapter. Per usual, the comment section is always free for your thoughts and theories and shit like that. And I also have a video coming out relatively soon where I'm gonna be talking about voice actors that I would, you know, like to have for a Gachiakuta anime. I don't know where this like series stemmed from in regards to me going over like a Gachiakuta anime and what I would want, but we did the studio. Now we can do voice actors, and then, you know, so on and so forth. Like, what would season 1 cover, right? I have a lot of ideas, so make sure y'all stay tuned for that. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. I'm gonna try to get this video out as soon as possible. I know the chapter drops Saturday, but the way that I usually get my chapters, it doesn't happen that way anymore since, you know, my homie took a break, and I hope they get better and continue to get better. So hell yeah, I will see you guys in the next chapter. And with that being said, it's your boy xDomoSenpaix, and I will catch you guys in the next video.